Boing, 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 boing. This is the DHG181. It is an 18 volt heat gun, and it came in this case. Even if you don't buy the kit, it comes in the case. So it came with the tool, an instruction manual up the back, and 4 nozzles to go on the front, and space for 3 batteries and a charger, even though, as I say, didn't come with a charger or a battery. Now, it's the 18 volt one. Let's now take a look at what you get with the 40 volt one. Aww, no case, man. What the hell? Let's take a look. Let's do a good old-fashioned unboxing. Boom. There it is. And bag of nozzles. And if you're someone who reads a manual. Right, let's do this. We've got 4 nozzles. They look to be the same, are they, as the ones in the 18 volt? Let's have a quick check. Yes, identical. So exactly the same fittings, although I've had a bit of a play and this one easily changes shape. So if you shove this on here, you've got this on the front for popping off your hot nozzle attachments. As you can see, it's just turning with it. These ones are okay because they slot just tightly over the front bit, but because this has this, it can flex. You need to make sure it doesn't get too stretched, because it should go over that front bit there, not over the full bit like that. So yeah, just be aware of that. Anyway, straight into the accessories and stuff, eh? Let's take a look at the specs of this tool and compare it to the 18 volt one, which, let's face it, no one's really made a decent 18 volt heat gun yet. They're all a little weak. How much better is this one going to be? Well, straight off the mark, it's 50 degrees hotter. Not a huge amount hotter. So 600 degrees Celsius or 1110 Fahrenheit, whereas the other one was only 550 Celsius or whatever that is in Fahrenheit. That'll probably appear just there. So the 18 volt version has 2 speed settings with a maximum airflow of 200 litres a minute, whereas the 40 volt has 3 speed settings with a maximum airflow of 200 litres a minute, or 7.1 CFM. So those two numbers sound awfully similar to me. Let's take a look at some other features. So on the back of the 18 volt, you'll see we have a dial for the temperature, which of course goes to 6, and down the bottom we have the airflow 1 and 2 and a little LED light. Whereas on the 40 volt, no dial, no switch down here, bigger light. Everything is done on the top of this one. Oh, and they've both got one of these silly little hooks that unhook like that, clip on to hang on whatever you want, and then pop back in. Both got the same dealio there, but this one got a control panel, a bit like the Hikoki one. So I guess we'll have to put a battery on before we can see that. We've got some temperature buttons here, which I think go up in 10-degree increments, and we've got the fan speed there. We need to chuck a battery on. What battery shall we chuck on? According to the box, you'll get 14 minutes from one of these 4 amp hour batteries, and I presume that means you'll get 28 minutes from one of these new 8 amp hour Tabless H batteries. 28 minutes, what do you reckon? Worth it? It's going to be a bit heavy with that on the bottom, isn't it? Let's try it with one of these. Okay, that's a good size and weight. I mean, the tool is very light. How light is it compared to the 18 volt? Shall we test that? Yeah, I'll do that before we pull a trigger. 18 volt, 708 grams. Pretty light tool. Not too many power tools are less than 700 grams. And the 40 volt, 762. Not much difference. You can see it's a little bit bigger. We've got this bigger bit on the front here, and we've got some slight difference. I mean, it is a little bit fatter than the old one. With a 4 amp hour battery, 1700, 1.7 kgs, and those numbers on the side there, of course, in pounds. Right, why am I taking that off? Let's turn this thing on. How do you turn it on? There doesn't seem to be a power switch. What do? Do we just pull the trigger? Let's find out. Boom, straight in at 600 degrees Celsius. Oh, we can see it warming up, so that's good. You'll know exactly when it's ready. Something that you do not know with the 18 volt. Right, we should time that, don't you reckon? I think that's what we'll do. So I'll just let that cool back down again, and then we'll put the battery back on, and I'll time how long it takes to get up to the full 600 degrees Celsius. Now, if you are in the minority and live in a place that uses the crazy F1 instead of the correct C1, you can change it between Celsius and whatever F stands for. You can change between Celsius and Fahrenheit by pushing both like that, and there we go, 1110. Just push both the up and down on the temperature setting and it will change between the two. Anyway, we're back to the correct one now. Okay, so we've got cool. Can we blow on cool? Look at that. Bringing the temperature down. So that's a handy feature, I guess. If you have gone too hot and you want to back it off a little bit, whack it right down to cool, pull the trigger and the fan will run through and cool your tool down. Now, you don't have to pull the trigger, as you can see, to get the screen to light up. You can just set it like so. Gets to 50 and then vanishes. So 50 is your lowest, 600 is your highest, and 10 degrees as you go. Let's set it for 130. Seeing as it's much higher, and just see what it does. We should be up around 500 still. Yeah. So it's just slowly going to come down. Okay, very cool. And then fan wise, we were on the second speed, not the top speed. So presumably it will get to the 600 much quicker when it's on the top speed. Or will it take longer because it's blowing too much air through? Who knows? Let's just see what it sounds like. Much gruntier. So we've got it set here at 600 degrees Celsius. I've got the fan on full whack, 4 speeds. I might have said 3 earlier, didn't I? Well, it's actually 4. Now I'm going to lock on the trigger, see how long it takes to get to 600 on that full fan speed. And yeah, if my editor could please put a timer up in the top corner up here and speed this footage up, we'll get on with it. Let's go. There we have it. Now, I don't know what the time is because I can't see that timer up in the top corner up here. But by my reckoning, that was about 1.5 minutes. Is that a good amount of time? Let's go. Okay, there we go. We are there. Didn't take as long as I thought it might have. I'm not sure how long it did take actually because I can't see that number that was up there. We can dial this down in 10-degree increments. Hold your finger on it, it goes like crazy. Woohoo! Let's do some tests now versus the 18 volt. Now I'm not going to do as many crazy things with the 40 volt as I did with the 18 volt. How do I put this out? If you want to see that video and the madness that ensued, then check out the link up in the top corner, depending on what you're watching it on, or down in the description. I'm now heating them both up to their maximum temperature, and then once they're at their max, I'm going to set them onto some candles in the background there, and we're just going to watch them melt over a certain period of time, which I haven't decided yet. Hopefully you can hear me over these things, they're quite noisy. Okay, both tools are up to temperature. I'm now going to place them in front of the candles without burning myself, hopefully. 18 volt, 40 volt. On the camera it might look like they're not quite in line, but that's the camera angle rather than the tools themselves. Well, you can already see that one of them is doing much better than the other. And I can feel that one of them is doing much better than the other from where I'm standing. Oh, and it's even starting to smoke. Uh-oh. Where's my smoke alarm? I'm going to have to remove it. Okay, you probably can't see all the smoke because it's on a white background, but the 40 volt one's getting rather smoky. I may have to stop this test. Okay, let's call that there, just because it's getting a bit smoky in here. So we're going for a couple of minutes, and the 40 volt, which is now this one, Melted much better than the 18 volt. I could feel the heat coming off the 40 volt standing back here, and it's melted down the candle, whereas this one still hasn't even touched the top. All it's done is take a rather small divot out of the side, whereas this one has melted the whole top off. Super scientific test, that one. What else can we try? Swapped out the batteries for some new freshly charged ones. So we're going to now have a go at bending some conduit. When using electrical conduit like this, instead of buying a bunch of expensive bends and corners and what have you, and some of them are just a bit tight and stuff as well, you know, I like to make my own curves a lot of the time, so it's easier to thread through and you don't have any joins that are ugly in it, and you can get better angles you want that you can't always buy. So let's just see how long it takes to sort of get one of these floppy, eh? Starting with the 18 volt. We'll let it run for about 30 seconds first just to heat up the metal there. Okay, the tool is running at full whack, 550 degrees Celsius, and it is on its highest speed setting. And we're just going to run this backwards and forwards until it droops over the other end, basically. So just rub it, just gently touching the metal and rotating it at the same time. Are we bending yet? Oh, there's a little bit. It's getting soft. Just concentrate now on the one spot to get this thing drooping. There we go, you can see it's starting to droop. It's starting to go. She's a drooping. Not the quickest process in the world, but does get those different angles. Like for instance, if you wanted that angle, done. Want a bit more? Well, she's pretty floppy now, so you can give her a bit of a tweak. You don't want to bend it like that, of course, though. So normally you would heat it over a much larger area than this sort of single spot I'm doing here. Oh yeah, that's good. Anyway, as you can see, we can bend it straight in half now. Boing. Okay. Don't know if this is going to prove much. One thing you can definitely tell though, even though they're supposedly the same speed, same amount of airflow, this is much louder. This, you can hear that the fan's just going way better than it is in the 18 volt. Boing, 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 boing. Right, so we'll just preheat this one for a minute. 470. 510. It is nice knowing when you're at the temperature you want. I mean, the 18 volt, you don't really have any idea. You just fluff around until you sort of get it right. Okay, we're on 600. Let's go. Oh, she's starting to go already. That is a lot quicker than the 18 volt. Ooh, a lot quicker. So she's already, yep, fully done. Okay, that was much quicker. The 40 volt, I mean, I can just hear that it's quicker. I can feel the heat coming off it from further distance. It's definitely got more blowage and more heat, even though the numbers may not say that. There's a lot of tools that seem to be like that, I've found, particularly from Makita. They have the same numbers on paper, but in reality, completely different. As well as the accessories that come with the tool, there are also these other ones up the side here that you can get as optional accessories. There's one there for doing heat shrink on small cables, which is something I'm sure a lot of people would want, and I really should get one of those instead of trying to do it with this one here. And there's also ones for welding plastic. There's even one there where you can thread plastic into it and melt it directly into things for welding plastic, which is pretty cool. If I can find some links for those, maybe they'll be down in the description. Boom. Now, speaking of heat shrink, okay, it is heat shrink time. I've got a bunch of heat shrink here and a few little things to do, so just waiting for the gun to heat up and we'll get underway. Currently at 450 degrees Celsius. I'm going to put a sleeve over this chisel just because I can. I don't really have the right size heat shrink for this bit of wire. I need something between this and this because I can't get this over my connection. We'll see how we go. Anyway, we're up to temp. Let's give this a whack. We're blowing at full blowage. Just see how this goes. Wow, that was quick. Very, very quick. Significantly quicker than on the 18, I think. Let's try this one. Yeah, we are shrinking down fast. That's good. That's perfect. I've spent so long trying to do it before with the 18 volt and not getting anywhere. So that's good. Take it up a level. Hopefully I don't burn myself here. Works good right next to the metal there. Heat from all sides speeds up the process. Cool. Just seal over the end so that it doesn't slide off too easily. Done. Nice. Let's get a real big bit. If you saw my 18 volt video, you will have seen me using this massive stuff that Vincent sent me. So if you're still watching the channel, Vincent, cheers for this. Here we go. We're going to go again. I'm not going to put anything inside it. We're just going to watch it shrink. We'll put it like that. And we'll go like this. Shrinking up nicely. It's actually potentially a little bit hot. Be careful not to burn it. Right, well, she's not going to go any smaller than that, as you can see. From that diameter to that. And as for this, so now I've got a nice rubber grip on my chisel here. Like I say, that over the end there to stop it from sliding forward down the chisel too much as you whack it. And these small ones worked real quick, which is nice. Yeah, so perfect for that. The 18 volt has this sort of flat section on the back, so you can put it on its back like this, lock it on and heat up whatever you need to heat up. Your knives or whatever it is. And then the 40 volt doesn't sort of have the same flat area, but the battery sort of acts like it. But even without the battery, it does actually sit perfectly well on its back. Not that you need to have it without a battery, of course. So yeah, all good. Did I tell you what the fan speeds were, the airflow? It's 120 on the lowest, 150, 180, 200. Whereas I think this one is maybe 120 and 200, something like that. But like I've said, the airflow, these numbers don't always really relate because this is definitely blowing out more than this is. Not massively, but I can feel it from further away, that's for sure. I'm now going to go through all of these batteries one by one and test this thing on every fan setting to see how long it lasts. Yeah, right. I do have some semblance of a life. I'd rather smash my head against the wall than do that. So I think I'm just going to take Makita's word for it on this one because I haven't got enough time. I've got to get this thing back to its rightful owner. So is the 40 volt better than the 18 volt? Yes, it is. Is it miles better? No, but it is significantly better. It's hotter and it blows out the heat a bit better and it seems to get the job done quicker, which is what you want. Haven't got any big new 9 amp hour or 12 amp hour batteries yet. They're not out here yet to test on that. So this one definitely getting the best run time. And yeah, that's about it from me. I'll get this back to its rightful owner. See ya.